Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD and the AM with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bond.
Damn indeed. There's nothing like it. Where you can go from scoreless to most points in franchise history. I know there wasn't a lot of sizzle around last night's game. Thursday Night Football, it's the Chargers at the Raiders. It's Easton Stick versus Aiden O'Connell. Well, the sizzle was Antonio Pierce was trying to put a record on the board. Antonio Pierce was trying to get the Las Vegas Raiders the NFL scoring record. When you score 42 points in the first half, you finish that game 63-21. You end another man's career, because I believe that is what the Raiders did. Now, with Brandon Staley, the head coach of the Chargers, we all assumed that after this season, LA was going to move on. They could move on this week, and it was one of those performances. This is different than week 3 of the NFL season. 3 weeks in, when the Miami Dolphins put up 70 on the Denver Broncos, as fans, you're ready to throw everything out. Leave Ben Joseph in Florida. Leave him in Miami. We don't need him. But you know what? You can listen. You can listen to a front office, a head coach say, hey, that was terrible. It's 3 weeks in. Give us a chance. The Broncos responded. You are too late in the season to listen to anything to say, hey, coach, we got you. No, you have football players that now have to go back and look themselves in the mirror and say, do I want to be a football player? Am I going to play football to end this season? You have a coach that has lost every single person in that organization, every single person that's left in that fan base. And how about those Las Vegas Raiders? 63-21 is the final score. What it do, everyone? Welcome into the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Bucket DC, he is the former Lobo quarterback. He has coached in the NFL. This man has been in locker rooms. This man has been on the good side and the bad side. And Ned, you're late in the season. You have two teams that are not going to the playoffs, but you'd expect that at least you have two teams full of competitors. You'd expect that you'd have two teams full of guys that have worked to be ready to play a football game. The Los Angeles Chargers did not look like competitors and did not look ready to play a football game.
No, they weren't ready for prime time. That's the major thing. That was just an embarrassment. I mean, the 42-0 at halftime. That was the thing that really. That's the thing that caught me. You know, just a lack of as far as holding on to the ball and possessing the ball, and keeping the game, making the game just a tight game by playing it close in the box. Giving the quarterback some easy reads, and he's a young. I guess he's been in the league for a while now, but I mean, kind of his first.
It was his
big
first
stage,
start.
Yeah, big stage performance. Yeah, but boy, just to lay an egg like that, just to turn the ball over like they did, just was obscene. And I don't know. Players have different motivations, and so just to say that they've kind of given up, that's not. I wouldn't necessarily go that far. Different things are going through these players' minds as the season ends, and you've got to motivate them in a lot of different ways, and every team has their issues. I was thinking about this, about what type, this last quarter of the season, these last 4 games, college guys, it's a little different when rookies are playing because they're talking to their buddies now, and their buddies have been home since Thanksgiving. They're at home, and that's what college guys are used to. And so when you're in your first year in the NFL, you're just now experiencing like you got 6 more weeks to play. And so guys kind of have that I-40 look, they have that Interstate 40 look where they're ready to go home. And, you still got to play some games. And I know it's a professional and I know it's work and all that stuff and your body's beat up. And, guys really struggle in the later part of the season. It's a physical game. Guys are beat up. And you can kind of start feeling a little sorry for yourself. But in this case, boy, I just did not see this coming with Aiden O'Connell playing the way he played. And the fact that, the Raiders just turned them over, in every facet of the game, special teams, offense. They just couldn't stop them. The Chargers couldn't stop them with really good players, and that's the theme, because Staley's a defensive guy. You hear everybody saying, well, wait a minute now, this guy's a defensive guy, and they've got good players on defense. I mean, they've got some Pro Bowl caliber guys on defense. You shouldn't be getting beat like this defensively with that style of defense, with those type of players on defense. And it just seemed like they couldn't get anything going, and the turnovers were really costly, really kind of propelled this Raiders team at home with a pretty feisty crowd there, it seemed, to really kind of get going and keep going. And they weren't doing it. 8 different guys scoring. I mean, so they were doing it with just Joes and Schmoes.
Everyone.
Guys.
Everyone was scoring for the Raiders.
Knew.
You had a pick six. You had a fumble return for a touchdown. They capitalized off of the turnovers that created Aiden O'Connell. None of y'all wanted to start him in your fantasy football league this weekend, but he got you 4 tutties and 248 yards. And you're right, Ned, this is one where the last thing I want to say, that's the last place I'll go, is effort and, questioning the heart of an athlete. But, this Chargers team, to your point with Brandon Staley, the effort, it just doesn't feel like the effort's there. It's just like something just always, it's missing in the close games, all the one-score losses that they've had. And then last night, Easton Stick was playing his first game. Well, that Raiders team just scored 0 points. And you put up 0 effort defensively. They were going up and down the field. It was 21-0 first quarter, 42-0. And Antonio Pierce, he's probably frustrated after the game, even so, you could tell, his message was let's keep going, do not slow down. He slowed down just a little bit with some of the play calling. But this dude is sitting there going, you know what? I want to be a head coach. I'm an interim coach right now. I want to put this game out there. I want this to be in everyone's minds. When they say, hey, do you think this dude can coach? 63 points.
Yeah, it's tough. That's, Minnesota's pretty good on defense. They're not, the quarterback thing is really causing them some problems there, but they're not. Brian Flores has done a good job with Minnesota. I mean, I know, 3-0 is not something to sneeze at, but they're pretty good on defense. But the fact that, the Chargers were able to lay an egg, I know it was a short week. They don't travel that far. Vegas is not that far from L.A. And so for them to kind of just lay an egg like that was just it's just unfortunate. But, that's the NFL. You just never know in this league, what guys are going to do, how guys are going to respond. This late in the season particularly, guys are beat up. Guys are looking at contract extensions or where they're going to be next year, if they're going to move their families, all that sort of stuff. So a lot of things come into play late in the season. And you're right. It's the head coach's job to get them ready, and management and everything else, to make sure guys are well prepared and guys are going out there and giving their all each and every week. And so this was a tough one to watch. I mean, I kind of enjoyed watching it because the scoring and just seeing the fact that
it's the classic.
Everybody thought this was going to be a low-scoring game.
This is a train wreck, and I can't look away. And you're just looking at it, and you're like, wait a second. You're not supposed to be able to double up every single quarter. Sports, usually things come back to the mean. Things are difficult. All right, you had a great first half. You scored 24 points. Well, that doesn't mean you're going to score 48. But the Raiders sure as heck were on that pace on Thursday Night Football. And it just highlights, I think, what we knew about the Chargers and the struggles. And yes, it was the backup quarterback. But yes, it was a team that scored 0 points last week. And there was no effort from that Chargers defense. But Brandon Staley might have to be cleaning out his office a little sooner than he was anticipating for the Chargers. So coming off the biggest win in a long time for this team, the Dallas Cowboys, we watched them beat Philadelphia, the hype all week long. We're talking about Dak Prescott, MVP conversation. Well, look at this. The Dallas Cowboys go on the road and play the Buffalo Bills. The Cowboys are road dogs, but they're the favorites. They got the MVP. They just beat the Philadelphia Eagles. How in the world are the Dallas Cowboys road dogs this weekend? Because you are looking at a team that could change the AFC, and that is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen doing enough defensively are a team that if they win this weekend, you best put their name back in contender status. The Buffalo Bills, Dallas Cowboys. This is one of those fascinating games because it's AFC, NFC late in the season, but the magnitude of this game for both franchises. The Cowboys took one step forward. They got a big win, but it was a big win at home. And you're waiting, all right, let's see, can they do it on the road against a good opponent? And for the Buffalo Bills, looking down the stretch, they're nipping at the heels of the Miami Dolphins. We're going to talk about the Dolphins this morning because they have to battle through some adversity. Things are not great right now. Tyreek Hill's not 100%. He's not practicing. How's Tua going to handle that? How's Mike McDaniel going to handle that? But, Ned, as we look at this game, the Cowboys, it's only 2 points, but road dogs coming off of what they did. This is a matchup late in the season. Usually you're hyper-focused on division games, conference games, but a huge game. Dak Prescott taking that offense on the road to Buffalo.
Yeah, I hate saying good things about Josh Allen because of what he said about the Lobos while he was at Wyoming. But he is playing. He's playing better. He's playing a lot better. That defense is, respectable, and they've got good players on defense. So, if they tie it all together, with the special teams and all that sort of stuff, they could make a run. He's really kind of carried them a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how, this game goes. I still like Dallas. I mean, I like McCarthy. I like their defense. They're playing well on specialty. They're doing everything that you can do. Now, the only hiccup the Cowboys have, in my opinion, and particularly late in the season, I say this all the time. I try to use a Game of Thrones reference. Winter is coming, and so you better be prepared. You better pack a running game. You better have a running game. And the Cowboys are struggling a little bit running the ball. So, I like to see, how if they're able to run the ball, because if you can't run the ball and you go into these environments with this even if it's not snowing or the wind's not blowing, it's cold.
It's gonna be cold.
And it's tough, it's tough for these guys who play south of the Mason-Dixon line to, register, some kind of energy when that weather gets cold. I mean, that's why these teams like East win.
Firsthand this year, Ned, when we were sitting down watching the New Mexico Lobos play the Nevada Wolfpack, a game late in the season that we assumed, hey, the Lobos are going to put something together. They're going to get another win on the board. They're playing Nevada, and they were frozen in that first half. And no one wanted to talk about it. No one would admit it. But you felt the freezing temperatures played a difference in that contest. Will the Cowboys freeze, or will they have the heater on against the Buffalo Bills? We'll get into how important that run game is going to be, because late in the season, every game matters more. The NFC playoff race, the AFC playoff race. So what can Dallas do to not be frozen in place against the Buffalo Bills, who don't look now, but they're coming, and they are half a step, and they could be a full step forward after this weekend back in the AFC title race. It's also a Kenny Thomas Friday on the opening drive. The former NBA player, the Lobo legend, is going to join us once again, 9 to 9:30. We're talking hoops. We got a lot to break down with Kenny Thomas. The Draymond Green reaction. I thought the stuff Steve Kerr said yesterday really shed light on how the Golden State Warriors are handling Draymond Green moving forward. There's some fantastic performances in the NBA last night. And, oh, by the way, New Mexico State on the hardwood down in Las Cruces tonight. The Lobos looking to back up their big-time victory in Game 1 in Game 2. Is led in New Mexico Bowl. Tomorrow, Fresno State, New Mexico State. We have a pair of tickets we're going to give away in the 7 o'clock hour. We're going to do it early for you today, so you got time to get that figured out and get out to University Stadium tomorrow. But when we come back on the other side, the Bills, the Cowboys, the meaningful matchups, what's it going to take for Dallas to keep it rolling in the frigid temperature Orchard Park in New York? It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
For the real story behind some of wrestling's big...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro V. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, my mom.
As Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hi, I'm Steve Sucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mary here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. See your baby, I get to the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How would I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom!
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Favorites, the Cowboys coming off one of the biggest wins in a long time for that franchise. Answering questions against the Philadelphia Eagles, showing that they can beat a good football team. And now Philadelphia in a bit of a rut. We'll talk about a couple of those teams, Philadelphia and Miami, just resetting at this point in the season, trying to overcome some adversity to get set for the postseason. But this is a game. When you look at Dak Prescott, 7 straight games with multiple touchdown passes. That ties him with Tony Romo for the second longest streak in Cowboys history, because Dak Prescott and Tony Romo, man, they've been like the same exact quarterback. Cowboy fans have felt the same exact way about these guys. They're hot, and then they're cold. They're no good, and then they are great. And there's a chance. Now, it's got a ways to go, because Don Meredith has the streak of 12 straight games with multiple touchdown passes for the Cowboys. But is it going to be the passing game or the run game that sets the tone for the Dallas Cowboys this week? And it's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, DC, our quarterback, Ned James with you this morning. If you look at the NFC, San Francisco 10-3, the Cowboys 10-3. Yes, the Eagles are still there at 10-3, and it's the competition is all over the place for these teams. Dallas, the hardest matchup on the road at Buffalo. San Francisco gets Arizona, and Philadelphia gets Seattle on Monday night. But this is a game, Ned, that you've been talking about it. I know DC, he's been the captain of the Dak Prescott train this season. But I don't remember the last time that you take a step back, whatever side you want to come down on the Cowboys. But Dallas goes into a game with this much confidence in the quarterback play, but also the coaching staff, because Mike McCarthy's been an easy target for all these years for people to go at, make fun of. He's not really that dude. But I look at it right now, and again, you go into a game and you feel like Dallas has the advantage in the coaching staff, that Dak Prescott is playing good enough to be right there with Josh Allen or better. And anytime we rank quarterbacks, we never put Dak Prescott ahead of Josh Allen. Like, even on the road in the cold, like, things are setting up very well for the Dallas Cowboys right now.
Yeah, people love these big quarterbacks like Josh Allen. I recall being in Cleveland talking with Al Saunders, who's been around a long time, and he really, he asked me about, Josh Allen, because he thought Josh would be the best quarterback in that draft class because he played in cold weather and because he was a big, strong guy. And those are the kind of guys you need in Cleveland and Green Bay and Buffalo because of these types of games, these games in the wintertime where you're going to have to, be able to withstand, these temperatures and have the body frame to be able to take the hits in the cold and those kind of things. And so, Josh Allen is, he's kind of he has an advantage because he's played at Wyoming. I almost quit football because I had to play a game in Wyoming, in Laramie, Wyoming. Wound up setting the record, but I had never played in cold weather before. I didn't know what is this? Why am I cold? All I thought about
it's a different game. Cold when you're in Laramie and that wind is blowing across those empty plains and snow might be coming down sideways.
Yeah, when you're playing in Mississippi and playing in places like Alabama and Georgia, and all of a sudden you're thrust into this environment and these elements of cold and wind and snow and rain, you question your loyalty to the sport. You're thinking all you're thinking about is getting to that heater on the sideline, and people don't realize that's a part of the game.
For you? There wasn't just a campfire?
They had wooden stoves. Yeah, we had wooden stoves on the sideline for us. But it's just I think that's a big reason why Buffalo drafted him. I think he's built for these types of games and this type of year. You're going to have to play outdoors in a lot of places, and so it's paramount that you're able to handle those conditions. Now, these are professional athletes. Now, we can't say that CeeDee Lamb played in Oklahoma and he should be it's going to be a struggle for him to play in this kind of weather because they're expected to play. And I've seen it. Once I was in the league, I saw guys who came from environments where they never had to play in the cold, and like Steve McNair would play great in Green Bay. The motivations are different because he never wanted to lose to Favre because they were both Mississippi guys, and Favre got more credit for being from Mississippi than Steve McNair did. But Steve would kill him when we played Green Bay. I remember the quarterbacks coach coming over to me saying, "Hey, Dad, I don't have to worry about preparation this week for Steve. He'll be locked in." So it's just the motivation with guys, and there's just always these little games within the games with players, and so I'm curious to see how Dallas. This is the first real big test, of what they're going to be like, for the playoffs. And so we'll see, how they're able to handle it up there in Buffalo, because it's tough to play in Buffalo. Boy, I've had games up there in the wintertime when I was coaching. I remember going up there when I was coaching in Seattle, and I just thought, wow, it's a weird kind of a stadium too, because it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and there's just skies, and it's just windy, and it's just a kind of it's one of the stranger places I've always thought that we played in the wintertime. It was Buffalo, not like Green Bay. You kind of expect it, it's kind of just typical Midwest, but Buffalo, New York is just a really strange environment. The wind changes and shifts and moves in different directions, and it's just an odd place. So we'll see how Dallas handles it. Coaches, I'm sure McCarthy, who's coached in Green Bay, he's kind of used to games in the elements, and so he'll have them ready to go, and so we'll see what happens.
It's a shifting weekend. Can't just say Sunday, because they got games on Saturday, 3 NFL games on Saturday, and you look at these 7-6 teams, 2 of them face off this weekend in the Steelers and Colts. The Texans have that giant question mark because C.J. Stroud still not practicing after his concussion, and that could set them behind. The Bengals have a tough test against the Minnesota Vikings defense that shut out a Raiders team that scored 63 points last night. And of course, you have the Buffalo Bills and Denver Broncos at 7-6. Different challenges for those teams. But teams we thought were just going to continue to roll. Teams that we trusted, bumps in the road late in the season. How do you adjust? What is Nick Sirianni saying? How is Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins handling a banged-up Tyreek Hill? Can the Eagles and Dolphins handle the speed bumps? And late in the season, when you have adversity, can that harden you up a little bit? Does that prepare you even more for the postseason? We'll look at these 2 high-flying teams that have been grounded the last week. We also got a pair of Isleta New Mexico Bowl tickets to give away. We'll do that coming up here shortly, the end of next segment. New Mexico State and Fresno State this Saturday at University Stadium. It's going to be popping, so stay tuned for that. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This message is brought to you by the...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Sunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Scout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, my mom.
As Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Ahmad here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. You're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mary here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in shorty, you got my attention. See your baby like you do the business. Touchdown and tell you a visit.
Injuries. But who should you be concerned about versus sometimes it's just late in the season, you're a little banged up, got stuck in neutral for a second, but you're good to go. One team I am really concerned about, another team I am not. And I do agree with their head coach. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Buck, DC, our quarterback, Ned James. I'm going to start with the team I'm not concerned about. And it's a team that just got blued out the built the last 2 weeks. And you can sit there and go, well, you play the San Francisco 49ers, you play the Dallas Cowboys, and you don't compete this late in the season. Red flags everywhere. But I agree with their head coach, Nick Sirianni. He said, quote, we're not hitting a panic button as far as we've got to do everything. We didn't play well. We didn't coach good the last 2 weeks. End of story. Eagles defensive tackle Fletcher Cox said, quote, I've been a part of teams where the dudes in the locker room do something about it. I've been a part of teams where it kind of crumbles. And he does not feel the Eagles are going to crumble. I do not feel the Eagles are going to crumble. That's a team that I look at and say, they're going to be all right going into the postseason. Their style of play, I think Jalen Hurts is still that dude to make plays. They got. And if you want to put them behind the Cowboys and 49ers right now, I got you. We can play the power ranking game. But that team, I think, can tighten things up and compete. You want to drop them down a little bit in terms of how much trust you have in them? Is it still the Eagles and 49ers in the field? Well, if you ask that question, you're only answering that question because of San Francisco. Yes, the Eagles have some work to do, but I'm not concerned. You know what I'm concerned about, Mr. Ned James?
What's that?
I'm concerned about the Miami Dolphins. And I do not like where this team is trending right now. They're playing it safe. You know, head coach Mike McDaniel said yesterday that they're not going to put Tyreek Hill back on the field if he's not 100%. He did not practice yesterday, and either did running back Devon Achane. He remained sidelined with his injury, and they're 8.5-point favorites against the New York Jets. I do not like this matchup at all for the Dolphins if Tyreek Hill is not on the field. Now, Tyreek Hill is my NFL MVP because he's that entire offense. Now, this is just a great prove-it spot for Tua. All right, how do you adjust? How do you game plan without the most explosive player on the field? But what I'm worried about the Dolphins is they just lost another offensive lineman, guard Connor Williams, for the remainder of the season. Another offensive tackle, Robert Hunt, is not expected to play. Terron Armstead, their left tackle, they're hoping he could get back on the field. But this is an offensive line that is not healthy. This is an offense that is not healthy. And we haven't seen anything from the Miami Dolphins to say, hey, yeah, this team can make it through the late half of the season. This team can overcome injuries. Sometimes it's just too much. And I'm looking at that offensive line. I'm looking at Tyreek Hill potentially not being in the lineup. I know you're a Vic Fangio guy, so that's what's going to be fascinating about this matchup is, all right, you have Zach Wilson coming off the best game of his career, 300 yards. I don't think he's going to be throwing for 300 yards, but I know that Jets defense is going to make it tough on the Dolphins. I am concerned about the Miami Dolphins at 9-4. Can they get through this rough stretch late in the season?
Well, what you said first about Philadelphia, I think you're right. I think Philadelphia, the Eagles are going to be okay. I think, they've got too many good players, both offensively and defensively. And, I've really liked their running game with Swift back there. Moving to the Dolphins, though, like you said, I do like Fangio. I do like what he's doing defensively. I think, he'll be able to rein this defensive unit in, and they've got a good enough running attack on offense that gives them a chance. But you're right, with Tyreek Hill being the explosive player he is. I just always remember being up in Cleveland and just asking defensive backs, like, hey, which receiver really bothers you? Like, they're not really concerned with guys who aren't speed guys. It's the speed guys that they struggle with, the corners. They say, hey, guys like Tyreek Hill, track guys, Goodwin, guys who could really fly are the guys that really bother. And, I think McDaniel has one problem. He's got to make sure he contacts Tyreek Hill's wife, because she's the one who tells him whether he should play or not.
If he's going to be
and
on
she
the
tells
field.
him at halftime. She will let you know if Tyreek is going to play or not. Not Tyreek Hill, because when Mama speaks, Tyreek Hill listens. When you're calling your wife at halftime to see if you should go back in the game, that speaks volumes for her power. And maybe McDaniels needs to kind of consult with her before he decides on what Tyreek's going to do this weekend. Now, it's getting to that part of the season. Guys are all nicked up. So, them saying that they're struggling with whether they're going to play Tyreek Hill or not, and you're thinking that he's the MVP. That's up for discussion. The MVP. Players who should be considered for MVP, and I know he's closing in on that 2,000 yards.
If he's not able to be on the field, if his wife doesn't send that text back. Which, by the way, the NFL said because Tyreek Hill was hurt, and after he got tackled in the first quarter of that game last week, and he was technically injured, that he did not get in trouble. We're messaging his wife at halftime because he was considered an injured player.
So it was. So I'm trying to get the communication thing down. Was it text message? Was it Instagram? Was it a phone call?
It was a mess. They used a cellular phone to contact each other, whether it was DMs, text messaging, phone call, however it was. The NFL said, well, at that point in time, Tyreek Hill, since he didn't come back into the game, was considered an injured player.
Okay, so you can call mom and them when you get injured in the NFL now.
So they say, like, if you're hurt, you can contact someone just to let them know what's up.
Oh, okay.
But in this case, it was, hey, wrap it up and get back out there.
Yeah, I loved it. That was great. I had never heard anything like that. I guess I've been gone for the league too long. Guys using their phones at halftime to communicate. And, we should have known with the Antonio Brown incident with the Steelers that, guys are, using their phones for everything now. So, but, I mean, Tyreek Hill, you're right. Just the explosiveness, the speed, that's, at 22 miles an hour, man, that's hard to replace.
Fine.
So, yeah, that's flying. That's rolling. And he, he's going to be important. But I still like defense. I still like running game. They're doing okay that way. The league should worry more about dress codes for coaches. I don't like the McDaniel sagging sweatpants.
Get off my rocks. Get off my rocks.
You're gonna find players for their socks being too high or their socks being too low in their uniform code. What's up with these coaches? I mean, the Belichick's with the hoodies, the McDaniels sagging with the sweatpants. I mean, I'm like,
a good pair of joggers, man. That's comfortable. It's feeling good. The sweatshirt. DC's offended right now.
Yeah, he dresses like every kid in Aurora, Colorado. Did you realize
that? I'm thinking, man, I am getting old. Look at this
man.
Dude's wearing this dude is sagging on the sidelines. I'm like, I can't believe this.
He got a nice tight waistband on the joggers. relaxed fit. It's comfortable. It's tight enough where it's not too tight.
It looked like he had a load in his back pants. It looked like he had a baby diaper on. He had a load in the back of his pants. He was walking around. I'm thinking, what is going on with this NFL and this? We're going to have to get, they're always trying to get on these players about how, the image of the league. We got to start checking these coaches.
Problems in Miami. Got a big old dump in your pants.
That's what it looked like to me. I'm thinking, is it just me that sees this?
I don't know, Ned. I think, you know what, I'm sure the text line is going to blow up and people are going to be like, that's right, Ned. That's the problem with the NFL. Coach wearing joggers.
I am getting old, man. I'm getting too old, man. I don't even call them joggers. I don't know what it was. I'm thinking, is this guy sagging? Like, he looks like these kids.
Right? They're joggers.
Walking around. I'm telling kids all the time on campus, pull your pants up. Kids are wearing pajamas to school. I'm like, what is this? What am I in the Twilight Zone or something? And so, I don't know. Coaches are doing it. So
times have changed.
It's time for me to get my rocking chair out and head to the convalescent home.
Well, the AFC, this is fascinating because the Dolphins were right there, man, and I think they got some warts they can't overcome. When you have that many offensive line injuries, that is going to affect you. And I think in the 3-for-all, that may be one of the games that I'm taking this weekend because in the AFC, Buffalo, they have another statement game. I think if Buffalo beats the Dallas Cowboys with the mess that is the AFC wildcard race, they're going to be my second favorite team in the AFC. I'll credit with the Baltimore Ravens. But I think Buffalo wins this weekend. They're the second best team in the AFC. We'll come back another side. There is a lot of news around Lobo football. Mountain West released their schedule for next season, so the teams got to see who's playing Washington State, who's playing Oregon State. What does a Lobo football schedule look like, and what do we know so far in terms of the names that are in and out of the transfer portal, and a couple more defensive coaches have been added to Bronco Mendenhall's staff. Right now, let's give away a pair of tickets to the Isleta, New Mexico Bowl. We'll go caller number 3. Get in, dial it up, 505-246-0610. A pair of tickets to the Isleta, New Mexico Bowl tomorrow. It's only a day away. New Mexico State and Florida State at University Stadium. 505-246-0610. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Isleta, New Mexico Bowl right now here on The Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores.
I woke up feeling...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mary here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Knock me, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife. And our daughter. They didn't make it.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Scout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, my mom.
As Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mary here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Sunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Your surprisingly great race? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom. Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
drive safe, Dwight.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way.
The National College Football Coaches Convention, which is in Nashville this year. So there'll be a lot of buzz, and I'm sure Bronco's trying to hide because he's probably getting hundreds of phone calls of guys who are out of work who are looking for jobs. And this is a place, a destination. They're calling all their contacts, and I'm sure he's trying to weed out. And Bronco's pretty thorough when it comes to. I've known guys who've worked for him, and he's pretty thorough in how he kind of goes through the process of interviewing and bringing guys on staff. He knows his football. He knows what he wants. He knows what he's looking for. But at the same time, you got to come with some things. You got to bring things with you. You can't just come empty-handed. You can't. Bronco's not coming empty-handed. You got to find a way to get some talent, and that's probably going to be more important than a lot of things.
Of course,
sure,
you need the players. And
sure, you got coaching, but you need talent.
And what you bring it, what you talk about is big too, is being able to have the experience, but also the ability to connect to players on different levels. And that's why staff diversity in terms of everything, where they're from, their backgrounds versus age is important in college athletics. And we knew defensively they were going to have to do a lot of work. And Sean Ryder, Albuquerque Journal, has done a good job keeping track of what's going on the social media. And according to reports from players, so 4 of the 5 players that have announced on social media that they've received an offer from the University of New Mexico are defensive backs. So that's where the early focus is on the offers that have been put out there by the Lobos. But the next biggest thing is the offensive line. Every single one of the Lobos' offensive linemen from last year is in the transfer portal. All 5 of the Lobos' primary starters on the offensive line. We're talking 3,446 snaps. They either ran out of eligibility or entered the transfer portal, as Issei Matuiata Tua is the newest one. And that's gigantic. Because I know everyone was stoked. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the All-American, is back. If they don't have anyone to block for him, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt's not an All-American.
Right. And I think Bronco's getting his side of the ball right first. He's trying to he knows that defense was a sieve last year. They didn't really, kind of live up to expectations with the defensive coach being on the staff. Bronco's not going to make that mistake. He's going to make sure they're tight on that back end. And there's some defensive guys that went in the portal. They were just okay guys. I mean, Tavian Coombs is big as well, but there's some guys that were some good players that are on defense that are leaving, and so he's trying to get his side of the ball right first. But boy, I tell you, it's a hit because that offensive line was spectacular last year. I believe I thought that was the strength of the team the last 2 years, and DJ getting hurt 2 years ago really hurt that offensive line, but came into the fold this past season with DJ being healthy and playing, and it really propelled Ja'Cory. Now, a lot of people are saying, "Hey, Ned, it wasn't the offensive line; it was just Ja'Cory." I'm like, "Okay."
The offensive line was pretty good because
yes, they were.
You look at they were set at the 3 biggest positions. They had left tackle, right tackle, and center locked down, and then we saw
They were
Troy
rated the
Cross-Humera.
#1 offensive line in the Mountain West Conference, and JC was considered one of the top 10 offensive linemen in the country. If people are saying it was just Ja'Cory, I don't know.
Not just
Ja'Cory had
Ja'Cory's good.
Ja'Cory was
dude.
good. Yeah,
That was a special offensive line, and that's how you build football teams. It's complementary football. Now you credit. Hey, people noticed DJ Wingfield. He announced that he committed to Purdue, so he's going to go play Big Ten football. This one caught me a little bit off guard. CJ James goes to UTSA, but he's going to go play that Texas football. So that's where the Lobo Center is going.
No, he's getting that Texas cash. They got a little bit more
NIL
money in San Antonio than they do in Lafayette.
And that's the thing. I know, and this is the NIL. Everyone was like, we got to pay Ja'Cory Cross-Humera. We got to pay Devin Dampier. Yes, they deserve it. Everyone deserves it. You got to find a way to entice those offensive linemen. Maybe some of those big dudes that are not playing at Texas A&M, do they want to start? I know they're getting $25,000, but hey, could you give them $10,000 and y'all could become a starting left tackle?
JJ, you need to be the general manager for the University of New Mexico Lobos instead of an NFL club. That's what it's come to now. You've got to have some sort of CEO type that are negotiating these kind of deals because that's what everyone else is doing. I mean, you're not just going to get these guys who are ranked, and they're these guys are being rated every single game that they play, and they're autographing their performances on tape, and so someone's evaluating that tape. And that's why these guys are getting these kind of offers. And so, boy, it's just huge seeing Issei leave as well. He's struggled with some injuries, but he's a tough, inside blocker. I mean, he was a brawler inside. So, I mean, those are some of the things you're going to be looking for when you're watching this team this spring and summer is how they're going to adjust to this new climate. I mean, you could have the coach all you want, but if you don't have the talent, it's going to be tough sledding. And I'm sure Bronco understands that. I'm sure he's, beating the bushes right now. And you've got to bring in guys who can bring in players. You can't just have guys that, schematic guys who can sit in the office and look at film. You've got to bring in the guys who know how to go out and wrangle these horses and bring them in. So we'll see what happens.
We will continue to keep an eye on that, the staff additions, and then also what they're doing in the transfer portal. Come back on the other side. We'll dive into those wild card races, the big time games in the NFL this weekend. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Cross-Humera here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Rosendo Nahad here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom. Boom.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay, thank you.
For your surprisingly great race, contact your local State Farm agent today.
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bond.
Can you handle the pressure? At this point in the season, that's what it's all about. Statement victories. Sometimes you just need to survive and advance. And you look at the wild card races in the AFC and NFC, we have that on both sides. The AFC, it's crazy all those 7 and 6 teams, the backup quarterback play, and the teams that should be able to take an advantage right now and go on a run. The Minnesota Vikings going from Josh Jobs is our savior to Josh Jobs is our emergency quarterback this week, and life comes at you fast in the NFL. What it do? Happy Friday, everyone. JJ Buck DC, quarterback Ned James with you here on the Sports Animal. And a couple big-time games this week, and we've talked about it. The Bills and the Cowboys, as Dallas trying to stay in the race for the number 1 seed in the NFC. I think the Buffalo Bills are right back in the race to win the AFC. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs. We can't forget about the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're talking about teams trying to overcome some late-season struggles. And is this the last time Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes match up against Bill Belichick as New England Patriots head coach? But I want to start in another crossover matchup with big-time playoff implications. And this one is on Saturday. This one involves the Denver Broncos in the bright orange sweatshirt that DC is wearing this morning against Jared Goff. And we have the president of the Jared Goff fan club, Mr. Ned James, with us this morning. Can Jared Goff handle the pressure? After last week's loss, where Chicago beat the Detroit Lions 28-13, Bears' new defensive end, Montez Sweat, when he was speaking with Pro Football Talk, said, quote, "We know they want to run the ball first," talking about the Lions. I mean, that's really the first thing. We want to stop the run. And just really on third down, we don't feel like a lot of teams can mess with us on third down. They were focused on making sure they put Jared Goff in uncomfortable situations. And right now, Jared Goff, under pressure, he ranks 31st out of 37 quarterbacks in completion percentage under pressure, completing just 43% of his passes. Also 30th in QB rating under pressure, 52.6. How does Jared Goff handle the pressure? How does he get back on track?
Well, this is our debate, JJ. We had before the season even started. We didn't get around to it, but it's your new age hip hop RPO quarterbacks versus my big stiffs in the pocket, passers, old school, standing in the pocket, Jared Goff type guys.
I'm looking pretty good right now with Lamar Jackson.
Yes, you are looking pretty good, but at the same time, we didn't pick. So if you'd have picked 5 and I'd have picked my 5, we would know by now where each of us stood as far as which quarterbacks in this new genre of football, which, I'm stuck in the past. I admit it. I'm, NFL guy. Even though I was an option guy, I'm kind of with the stiffs in the pocket, passers versus the RPO guys like the Jalen Hurts and the Lamar Jacksons. Now, as far as what Montez Sweat says, a guy played on 2 losing teams, both the Washington Commanders and now the Chicago Bears. The fact that he thinks that he's pounding his chest about his quarterback, Justin Fields, having a pretty decent game. Which team do you think's headed to the playoffs? Is it Chicago or is it Detroit? Now,
Still Detroit.
This is a big game for him. This is a big test because Denver's really playing well. But it's a test of RPO versus pocket quarterbacks. Now, the fact that Montez Sweat is mentioning third down. I mean, of course, guys, that's your job. That's how you get paid in the NFL on defense. If you can sack the quarterbacks on third down and force the teams to punt, yeah, okay, you win. Okay, yeah, you won that one. Jared Goff, yeah, the pressure. It's tough on third down when you're not on schedule. Sure, if you're not 3rd and 2 or less or 3rd and 3, it's tough to get first downs in the NFL. That's why those guys on the other team get paid too. Everybody gets paid. But Jared Goff has proven that he's capable of winning games when they get the running game going. And if you stop their running game, you shut them down, it's tough sledding for Detroit. And that's any team in the NFL. So
is that the biggest drawback to the Lions of, the Jared Goff, he's been to the Super Bowl. We've seen Jared Goff respond, and he was pretty much just a throw-in in the Matthew Stafford trade. They're like, all right, we'll give you Goff because the Rams are getting back Matthew Stafford, fantastic. And he has helped establish, I should say, an identity with the Detroit Lions. So I don't want to discredit Jared Goff. I think he's a good quarterback. But you also have to, if we want to look at you as a team that can win a game in the postseason, that could compete to win a conference title, you got to be able to handle some of that adversity. And I think that's the biggest wart right now for the Lions. It's okay, if you're not running the ball well, can Jared Goff make some plays?
Yeah.
And he hasn't been able to show that. You look at the turnovers he's had, and he's going up against now a Broncos defense that has 20 sacks, 18 takeaways over their last 7 games. And what we saw happen last week is Jared Goff got sacked 4 times by those losing Bears and had more turnovers.
Right, and you can't get sacks. You can't take sacks. You can't get sacks. That's a big problem. They're going to have to address that. That's the head coach and everybody else, and they don't play very good defense in Detroit. So that's causing problems. So I mean, does it all go back to the quarterback? Well, the quarterback makes the most money, and he's responsible, I guess, in a lot of ways for the wins and losses. The wins and losses are tagged to him more so than any other player. So we'll see, how this game goes. I mean, I like their offense. I mean, I do not like Detroit's defense, and that's where the problems are. Now, this whole pressure thing, we'll see. I mean, they're one of the top scoring teams.
You're right, and that's their identity.
They have to be successful running the ball.
You have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And early in the season, those guys were popping. That's why everyone was like, this is a different Detroit Lions team. And we're talking about handling adversity late in the season.
This is my bias, little running backs. They need bigger guys at the back.
I don't like Montgomery can handle that load. Stronger guy.
I don't know. That's the only thing. But especially in wintertime when it gets cold, bigger guys, when they fall on you, they weigh on you. It's just I like bigger running backs.
Playing in a dome.
Doesn't matter, man. Those bones are hurting late in the season, and they're playing in Detroit. They got to go outside of Detroit.
I think of this season, and we can just sit here and run down the unbelievable storylines that we've talked about all year long. So we just watched a team last night, and the Las Vegas Raiders score 63 points a week after being shut out. And we're also sitting here now talking about a team in the Denver Broncos, by the way, that's who the Detroit Lions are playing this weekend. We're talking about, the Lions. Can they get it done? The Denver Broncos are coming down. They're the team that gave up 70 points
I know. Isn't it amazing
to the
how
Miami
fast
Dolphins,
things
and
change?
we're going, ooh, I don't know if Jared Goff can handle the Denver Broncos, but that's where we're at because the Denver Broncos are only a game back, too, of the almighty Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC West.
It's amazing how people's memories just fade after so many weeks. If you just turn it around and win a couple games, nobody remembers that 70 burger that the Denver Broncos gave up. But at the same time, it's not about the last game; it's about the next game. And they've figured out a way to get things right and to right that ship in Denver. And a lot of people are scared to play the Denver Broncos. And I would be. They've got a veteran quarterback. I told you this before. I mean, I'm not an RPO guy, but Wilson's, he's been an RPO running type quarterback, and he's kept them in games with his legs. He's not as efficient with his legs as he's been in the past, but he's still doing enough, and he's savvy and smart, and he's veteran enough to understand how to win games and how to keep games close and not turn the ball over. Jared Goff's got to quit taking sacks. You can't get sacked. You can't give up 4 sacks in a game. You just can't do that. I mean, you just kill your team. That means he's holding the ball. He's afraid that his completion percentage will go down if he throws the ball away. It's a lot of things, a lot of factors that go into why quarterbacks do certain things, and coaches have to reel them in. That's the coach's responsibility. But if this Detroit team is expecting to get into the playoffs, they're going to have to start playing more efficient football. And it starts at the quarterback, but I always say it ends with defense and special teams. And so we'll see what happens with this game, because this is going to be a good game. I think it really is. I think Sean Payton's done a good job turning this team around. They've got good players.
Man, it's wild
in Denver
that we're talking about the Denver Broncos like that for what we watched in Week 3 of the NFL season. That team started 0-3. They gave up 70 points to Miami Dolphins. We were clowning Sean Payton, be like, oh, you're running your mouth in the offseason, Mr. Payton. You're running your mouth about Nathaniel Hackett, who had a better record after 3 games last year than you did to start this season. And here we are.
That NFL will humble you quick. I mean, like I told you earlier, JJ, I've seen teams 1-15 beat teams that are 12-3 or whatever, 12-4. So it's a league. It's a week-to-week league. When you're paying guys millions of dollars on both sides of the ball, anything's liable to happen. And we saw that last night in that 63 burger. Who would have thunk 63 points by one team, the Raiders, of all teams? But at the same time, we're going to see what happens this week. That's why they play the games.
That's why they play the games. One of them will be an elimination game this week in the AFC wildcard race. Another team just might not have enough in the tank if their quarterback is not cleared to play. We are going to get a much clearer picture in the AFC wildcard after this weekend, and we're going to tell you which of those games are going to be the deciding factors down the stretch. It is a Kenny Thomas Friday here on The Sports Animal. Kenny Thomas set to join us 9 to 9:30, Tuesdays and Fridays, talking basketball. We got a lot to react to in the NBA. I would say, how was I feeling? My opinion shifted on Draymond Green listening to Steve Kerr talk last night about the way I felt yesterday versus the way I feel this morning about Draymond Green's future with the Golden State Warriors. And I'm interested to get Kenny Thomas's thoughts. I'm excited what he has to say. He's been there, done that in the NBA, been in those locker rooms. So how the Golden State Warriors feel about Draymond Green. Also, Giannis, is he the most unstoppable force right now in the NBA? And oh, by the way, Lobos Aggies on the basketball court tonight in Las Cruces. We're going to talk about that rivalry and some moments that stand out to him. So Kenny Thomas set to join us at 9 o'clock. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Boost Infinite.
Boost Infinite's new wire.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mary here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride barbecue chicken and ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop.
I am Michael Ozera, midfielder for New Mexico United. Clark's support for the United is an example of their commitment to local partnerships. Clark's understands that paying it forward develops a better team and ultimately better community partner.
When you need pet food and supplies,
Clark's is always the best shot.
Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations.
Go United!
ClarksPets.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people.
We brought up Miami Dolphins, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Lions, teams that are going to the postseason, teams that are comfortably in, but with some question marks late in the season. And right now, the only other time there's been this many question marks with the Kansas City Chiefs is when they went into the Super Bowl with pretty much an entire backup offensive line. And we saw what happened in that game. But right now for the Kansas City Chiefs, 8-5. Wide receivers leading the league in drops. Patrick Mahomes not quite looking like one of the greatest of all time. Even when you lose the game by just 3 points, it feels different when you're at home and the Buffalo Bills get you again. in the regular season. But there's just this feeling with Patrick Mahomes that we just all assume it's going to be okay. You have Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be okay. I think those offensive issues are something to be concerned about. And when you have people talking, you know what? I might like Bill Belichick this weekend. The 3-10 Patriots that have had no offense all season long. That scored 3 touchdowns in the first half against the Steelers. And that gets you thinking that the New England Patriots and Bailey Zappi can beat Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid? People are thinking right now. Kansas City 7.5-point favorites at New England. Andy Reid versus Bill Belichick. I am intrigued in this chess match because Bill Belichick, is this the end? Is this the last time he'll line up against Patrick Mahomes, at least wearing that New England Patriots cutoff hoodie? It's entirely possible. JJ Buck DC, our quarterback, Ned James with you here on the opening drive. What do you make of the noise that became a story this week that this could be the end of Bill Belichick in New England? And should we really entertain the thought that Bailey Zappi and the Patriots could defeat the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend?
Sure. You know, any team could win any week in the NFL. It's the NFL. You know, you got
what we just talked
athletes.
about.
Right. But at the same time, the whole idea about firing a 7-time Super Bowl champion winning coach, and the fact that, you know, everybody likes to throw us old people out with last week's garbage and put us out to graze in the pasture and put us in our rocking chairs and send us to the convalescent home. You have to hold up a minute now. You're talking about Bill Belichick, the winningest Super Bowl winningest coach in the history of the NFL, and people are predicting his demise. And I go back, in my opinion, it goes back to Motown, the sound of Detroit and the music of Motown. And a lot of people believe that Motown, the greatest hits came out of Motown were the Temptations, or maybe Diana Ross and the Supremes, or maybe, you know, Michael Jackson. I don't know who people think, you know, were the first big stars to come out of Motown. But Motown's first #1 hit ever in the history of Motown came from a group called the Marvelettes. And there's a song that the Marvelettes made that's the first #1 hit ever in the history of Motown. And one of those songs revolves around Bill Belichick. It's called "Don't Mess with Bill." And I'm sure DC's going to look that up for the Marvelettes, and "Don't Mess with Bill," because don't mess with Bill. Don't mess with Happy. You know, you've got Happy in New England. Don't mess with it.
The 3-10
this year, but they've got 7 trophies.
Okay.
And there's a guy who got him those 7 trophies. And, you know, sometimes you want to take these old guys and, hey, it's time for some new stuff.
And that quarterback
is
in his rocking chair.
Well, yeah.
You haven't developed
he made
the
the quarterback.
generation.
He made the
Oh, he did?
quarterback. And so you got to give him a chance to make another one. And some people think that maybe he's had enough time to make another one. I don't believe he has had enough time.
Do you
But
trust
don't mess
Bill
with Happy.
Belichick with a young quarterback?
I trust Bill Belichick.
What did
I
he
trust
do to
Bill.
Mac Jones?
Bill Belichick and the New England Cheaters will find a way to cheat their way to another one. They got you where you are right now. If you don't want to,
Who's their starting quarterback?
Their starting quarterback used to be a first-round draft pick that tried to leave the building. What happens is you got to adjust.
So it's Mac Jones' fault? It's all on Mac?
Well, sure, you got him to the playoffs as a rookie. He got you to the playoffs as a rookie, and then he's just deteriorated since then.
And then
because
you're
he started
like,
reading his
hey,
play
we're
scripts.
going to have a guy that just calls punt plays call the offense.
Well, they were one play away from the playoffs until this guy starts calling his I guess his suitors to give him help. I mean, who goes outside the building to find help when you're almost in the playoffs? You were one play away from the play. The stupid play against the Raiders last year, that lateral play, is the only reason why they didn't that they didn't get to the playoffs.
That was
last
wild.
Year. They'd have been in the playoffs 2 years in a row with an average score. Mac Jones is average. If you ask people today, would you take Mac Jones or Zach Wilson? They would still take Zach Wilson over Mac Jones. And this is a guy who went to the playoffs. So you can tell sometimes it's the coach. It's not the quarterback. A lot of people like to put it on the quarterbacks, but that's just my opinion. I'm an old school guy.
And that's
think he's
what
an old school coach.
With what we've seen out of Bill Belichick, I trust Bill Belichick, the coach. Like we were talking yesterday, if you picked up Bill Belichick right now and dropped him in LA with the Chargers, that team looks entirely different.
Don't mess with Bill. That's what the Marvelettes said. Don't mess with Bill. Motown's number one. There you go, DC. Don't mess with Bill.
With Bill Belichick right now is everything else around the quarterback. He controls everything that team does. As you say, it's Bill Belichick's offense, it's Bill Belichick's defense, it's Bill Belichick's special teams. There's been zero offensive development. And so do you trust Bill Belichick to, if he gets a Caleb Williams, if he gets a Drake May?
Oh, you young people, how soon you forget. It's like us old people. We just, you guys roll out of bed and invent football. Like, we don't know anything about football, us old guys. Just send us out to graze at the pasture here. This guy all of a sudden has forgotten how to coach football because he's had a couple bad
coach
seasons.
Football. I'm saying, can you trust him for player development when it comes to offense?
All we care about is whether you win or lose the game. Development, schmelopment. Everybody talks about player development when you're losing. When you're winning, nobody talks about player development. When you're winning, people talks about how great, what your image is, what your legacy is going to be. But when you start losing, it's development. It's, hey, we need some youth in here. We need some new ideas. We need some fresh ideas. I think just, hey, it's one of those seasons where I thought he should have got rid of the quarterback last year when the quarterback said he had to go outside. It wasn't Bill Belichick was the reason why they were winning. It was because of him. So I've got to go find somebody outside the building because I'm not being coached right. That's what you young people do. You kind of try to tell us old people, even though we've already shown you the way, you're going to tell us now, oh, okay, I'm going to show you a different way, a better way, because I'm smarter than you are. And that's what Mac Jones did. And that's essentially what happened with and Bill, was furious. I thought he should have let the guy go last year, but he didn't. He stuck with him, and unfortunately, this is what happens. It's a messy situation in New England right now. But I think the New England Cheaters, they'll find their way here. It's just going to take a little time, but it'll be all right. And sometimes it just takes a little time, to make the food taste right. It takes a little while. You can't just put it in the microwave and it comes out tasting like you've been in a 5-star restaurant. Yeah, you got to season it. You got to know how to tenderize the meat. There's certain ways you have to do things, and I think Bill he understands. He's on to Kansas City. He's not worried about all these rumors and innuendos. He's on to the next game, and that's how you have to treat it. You can't really worry too much about all the naysayers and all the gossip out there about the rumors about where you're going and where you're going to land. But I'm telling you, if he gets let go, there'll be 26 teams lined up to take him as their head coach, ready to fire their coach.
Who wouldn't take Bill Belichick as their head coach heading into next season? Are you team Bill? Are you team get out of here? The time is up. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is brought to you by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rosendo Nahad here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Are a few good men moment going back and forth. And Ned's like, you can't handle the truth. Who ordered the code red? You can't handle it.
Don't mess with Bill. That's all I can say.
Do you trust him? This is one where I do think it's insane to think that Bill Belichick is bad at coaching football. He's not bad at coaching football. I think roster management is too much for Bill Belichick at this point in time. That's my concern.
So you blame him for everything.
Yes.
You don't blame any other coach for everything.
Well, he's
Bill
picking the wide
Belichick.
receivers. He's picking the quarterback. He's picking the OC.
He's picking the championships, too. He's picked a lot of championships.
That championship quarterback ain't there anymore.
So it was the quarterback. It wasn't the coach.
That quarterback went to Tampa and won.
The guy lucked up and went to Tampa and won.
No, the guy made a smart business decision to go to Tampa and win. Because he saw the talent ain't here on this Patriots roster offensively. The talent is there on that Buccaneers.
Belichick was trying to get rid of Brady for 10 years. Yeah. He was the pet cat of the owner. That's all. I mean,
and what type of terrible decision would that have been to get rid of Brady 10 years ago and be stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo?
That's what hindered the progress of this team. Why this team is where it's at now.
Hindered the progress.
Because they
hindered the progress.
They kept Brady too long.
You can't handle the truth. Bill just doesn't know personnel anymore. He knows football.
Don't mess with Bill.
All right.
That's what the
Kansas City, said. New England. We're going to be all of a sudden, like, I'm watching that game very, very intensely on Sunday. Is it the 1 o'clock game? It's a 1 p.m. Eastern kick, so 11 o'clock game here in Albuquerque. Nice and early for you there in California. It's our quarterback, Ned James, up bright and early with us, dropping the takes. JJ Buck DC with you on a Kenny Thomas Friday. Kenny Thomas is going to be in studio 9 to 9:30 talking hoops, scoops, and alley-oops, everything else in the sports world. And when you look at this weekend, it's what you love. Is you think you know, but you have no idea. And that was evident last night by the Raiders being up 42-0 at halftime. 42-0. We knew it was going to be a challenge. Easton Stick starting for the Chargers. But did you have on your bingo card, on your fantasy football team in the first round of the NFL playoffs, Aiden O'Connell going off for 4 touchdowns? And it shows you how crazy, how difficult that league is. And for Brandon Staley, we knew at the end of the season he was gone. But now you wonder, does he get to coach out the rest of the season? How do you come back from that, Ned? You talk about it. It's a week-to-week league. We've heard that. We've said that many times on this show, from callers to texters to hosts. But now, like, it's different when it's week 3 of the NFL season. And you're the Denver Broncos, and you go, all right, settle down. We have time. You were a 5-8 football team. Now you're 5-9. You were down 42-0 at half. How the heck do you just finish the season after that?
Well, a lot of it is the quarterback and the turnovers. They're going to talk about the turnovers and protecting the ball. They may do some ball protection drills, something to kind of let these guys understand that the ball is the issue in the game. And so you have to make sure you protect it, and you have to make sure you score it. And so that's one thing that they're going to do. They're just going to rally about, hey, we won 5 games, and hey, that was just kind of everybody. And I don't think everybody goes through that like that, which is what Brandon Staley says. But you have some tough losses in the NFL and in any sport at any level, and you just have to rebound. You have to just kind of refocus. And a lot of times it's easier to coach guys when you lose a game. The guys are more attentive, and guys want to autograph their performances. They want to put on tape something positive. And so you can use that to motivate and get guys back on track, and just say, hey, we just got to win this next game. That game is over with. Maybe not even show them the tape and just kind of move on to get rid of it. And it was a short week and that kind of stuff, and so you have time to kind of get over it, a little bit quicker and get ready for the next one.
And speaking of culture and attitude, one of those teams to really watch out for down the stretch is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And to me, this is an elimination game Saturday afternoon. Pittsburgh at Indianapolis, 2 teams that are 7-6 in that wild card race. And we've seen the issues with the young wide receivers. Mike Tomlin spoke on it this week, saying he doesn't like some of the things George Pickens is doing. So it goes back to culture, leadership, ownership. The old guy, Ben Roethlisberger, on his podcast earlier this week, said at the end of the game, and he's talking about their last loss Thursday night to New England, if we had one more timeout, if we had another chance, when you lose timeouts because of silly penalties, too many men on the field, not enough men on the field, you can't afford that in the second half of games. To burn silly timeouts and not have them late in the game, to me, that's bad coaching. Maybe the tradition of the Pittsburgh Steelers is done. And this tees you up again, Ned James, right there. I put it on the platter for you. It's not even a baseball, it's a softball.
That's right.
You're questioning Mike Tomlin? You're saying Mike Tomlin can't lead the Steelers anymore, but that's what the people are saying.
Yeah, it's time for Ben Roethlisberger to move on. I mean, he's that guy who thinks he's still, the greatest player that ever played in Pittsburgh, and that they're never going to be great again since he's gone. And so he's got to lob grenades at the head football coach, because that was a direct shot at the head football coach.
That's bad coaching.
Maybe the dynasty is over now that I'm gone, but teams move on. Teams go on and they create new legacies. They start new legacies. Once you're gone as a player, coaches are able to adjust without you. I'm sure they've won games when you were injured at some point. But Ben Roethlisberger, to me here, I mean, because I worked with Todd Haley, I kind of know him a little bit because, there were some secrets divulged. I won't give you all of them about Ben Roethlisberger's personality.
Hey, now.
And some of those things that, he couldn't handle as a player. But yet and still he's out there, lobbing grenades at the coaching because he's not playing quarterback and they're struggling at the quarterback position. You don't win just because of the quarterback. Sometimes you win despite the quarterback. And, to lob grenades and say that, hey, the same coach that coached you in the Super Bowl and you won a Super Bowl is now all of a sudden not as good a coach because you're not there and that they need to move on. And you're somehow the reason why they had this legacy in Pittsburgh is absurd.
You get it.
And these
it's
players do that all the time.
It's all about the quarterback. You understand it now.
No, when the quarterback leaves, you just get another quarterback. That's all. These quarterbacks believe that they're the guy. I mean, Tom Brady was Robert Kraft's pet cat. He kept him there when the head coach was trying to get rid of him for the last 10 years, and he couldn't.
Was right in that regard.
Well, the coach was. The coach was able to win despite having an old man playing quarterback. And so, it's just one of those things. It's just like with Roethlisberger. He probably was there too long. They probably needed a better succession. They needed a succession plan when he was there. And they didn't have that, because he, was probably cozying up to the owner. Yeah, but guys cozy up to the owner. They think they're special. I mean, I heard an incident about Roethlisberger where he didn't want anybody who could compete with him in the building. Much like Tom the Cheetah Brady. These guys don't want.
Napoleon?
He didn't want. No, it was probably a Michael Vick or somebody like that. He didn't want in the building when he was the starting quarterback because he didn't want that pressure of having somebody take his job. And that happens with these quarterbacks, and they make all the money. And the college guys. Now they're going to experience it. would make fun of pro guys because they would tell me I'll never coach in the NFL because you got these quarterbacks. They're pretty much running the teams because they make all the money, and they're kind of calling the shots. And so you have to deal with the ego of the quarterback when you're in the NFL. And now they're paying these college quarterbacks, so it's the same thing. But it's just one of those things where here's a player. He's lobbing grenades at the head coach because he believes that the only reason why they can win is because he's like Tom the Cheetah Brady. If I'm not in New England or if I'm not in Pittsburgh, we can't win. The dynasty's over in New England because Tom the Cheetah Brady's not there and Ben Roethlisberger's not in Pittsburgh. So it's just one of those things where the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they win, they've got a chance to get into the playoffs. They got a playoff. They didn't win. They didn't go to the playoffs and win every year you were there, Ben. So it's one of those things where just have to make an adjustment, and it takes a period of time. Takes time with these young quarterbacks to eventually get them to a position where they can win some playoff games. That's all.
Ned James was born a quarterback, but this man should have been a middle linebacker on the football field.
I've learned.
That is our quarterback, Ned James, DC. JJ Buck, when you come back on the other side, Lobo basketball, can they do it twice against their rival? We know things are messy when it comes to basketball at New Mexico State. But what do they need to do to keep it rolling, to keep building? We also got Kenny Thomas joining us at 9 o'clock this morning. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Boost Infinite.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife. And our daughter. They didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I've ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rosendo Nahad here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh? I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom. Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom. Boom.
For your surprisingly great race, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Sunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust.
Medina Las Cruces tonight. It's New Mexico State. It's the Lou Henson Classic. Lou Henson, a coaching legend. And so they'll be honoring him tonight, but the Lobos are heavy favorites right now, 14.5-point favorites for New Mexico over New Mexico State on the hardwood. Of course, New Mexico won in the pit 106-62. Jamal Mashburn Jr. still out of the lineup for the Lobos. They hope to have him back in a couple weeks after Christmas. That's what head coach Richard Pitino was talking about. But you're seeing the continued development of this team coming together on the floor, especially defense. But that's where I've been most impressed with Lobo basketball this season. But we'll get more into that with Kenny Thomas, who's set to join us in studio at 9 o'clock. Tuesdays and Fridays throughout basketball season, it's going to be Kenny Thomas Day, 9 to 9:30, right here on the opening drive. JJ Bucket DC, former Lobo quarterback Ned James, with you. And the Isleta New Mexico is tomorrow at University State of New Mexico State and Fresno State. And Ned, we have watched both these teams. We prepped our show for those teams this season when the Lobos played the Aggies and when Lobos beat Fresno State. How do you feel about that matchup? Who do you think has the edge tomorrow here in Albuquerque? Got to unmute yourself.
My bad. I'm sorry. I said, well, going into this game, I felt that our little brothers to the south have been playing really well. I mean, they've done a great job this whole entire season. They are to be commended. Fresno State, the team that we beat, I thought was really strong going into our game until we unleashed the Kraken on them and ran the ball down their throats. And I was going to give them the edge, but there's one thing that's missing. That's a key component for both teams, and it's the head coach. Fresno's head coach is not here. New Mexico State's coach is here. Jerry Kill, two very talented coaches. And therefore the edge, as far as the coaching goes, has to go to the New Mexico State University Ag. But players, Fresno State has the talent, but not having Tedford here is really going to hurt this team. And so the edge has to go to New Mexico State from that standpoint. But Mikey Keene is a talented quarterback. I don't know if he's playing or if he's out. He was hurt in our game. Guys are skipping to go into the portal. They're working with agents now, so we'll see what happens.
And this one too is everything that's swirling around this game, from the incredible season that New Mexico State had to the off the field drama with the practice field incident with Diego Pavia. And then if they come in here and they win a bowl game at University Stadium, that just adds fuel to the rivalry fire for the Lobos and Aggies when they meet up again next year on the football field.
Not really. They're just still our little brothers to the south, but that's okay. I mean, they can say what they want, but I just don't look at it that way.
It will when we're talking about the fans and the conversation from the fans going into next year's game. But Isleta New Mexico Bowl, you can hear that right here on your home for the Isleta New Mexico Bowl on Bowl Season Radio, the sports animal sandwich between two NFL games. Your home for football. The NFL is the sports animal. It's Kenny Thomas Friday. Joining us next, KT in studio, breaking it all down here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the sports animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
You ready, Scout? You ready?
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sports Animal.
Excited, a new energy. Tuesday and Fridays right here on The Sports Animal on the opening drive. Kenny Thomas, 11-year NBA veteran, All-American, All-Conference, you name it, he did it at the University of New Mexico. And he's chilling with us in studio. JJ Buck DC, our quarterback Ned James, and Kenny Thomas. What it do, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We are great.
What's up, Ned?
We're just battling this football thing, man. Me and JJ were going at it today about Bill Belichick. So.
Oh, I heard it. I heard a little bit.
Now we're switching up. Bill Belichick, Greg Popovich, I think is a fascinating kind of combination because you have these veteran coaches that are going through challenges, and they stuck around, and can Greg Popovich build it back up?
I mean, the nice thing about Pop is that he's a guy that I would compare him to like a Larry Brown. It's old school, and if he didn't have Wemby, I feel like he would have been done. So I feel like that's his new project. And people probably don't know this, but my last, I would say about 6 out of my 11 years in the NBA, I used to go train with the Spurs.
Oh, really?
I used to go down there for like 2 months, month and a half, and the Spurs embraced me, and they opened up their facility, and they have swimming pool because Tim Duncan's from St. Thomas, and he's a swimmer, and swimming was one of those things that I did for cardio, for like just calming myself after I worked out like throughout the day. So great organization, and the thing about it is Pop is going to make that kid into a franchise player.
Victor Wembanyama.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
And I think that's you bring up the point, too, of someone like Greg Popovich that had that much success. And the extended run, when you look at when it went David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and then Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, that is a lot of sustained success, but also overcoming the down years. But you said it was the key, is them landing Victor Wembanyama, kind of the, all right, this is my next thing.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it, JJ, you said it perfectly because Tim Duncan and the Admiral, Popovich knows how to turn big men into superstars, and probably not going to believe this either, but when I was on the Houston Rockets, I played against both of those guys, and it was unreal. But being able to play against Tim Duncan taught me a lot, especially when it comes to basics, because he's the human, fundamentally sound. Like, he has some of the greatest footwork outside of Keem Olajuwon, who I was able to play with the Rockets. Come on, Ned. You got to add something in here real quick.
Yeah. Oh, I love the fact that you think that Popovich is going to turn this young guy into a superstar, and like you said, it takes time. You have to develop. Bill Belichick, he wanted to develop. He had to keep Brady around for so long. He wanted to move on and bring in another guy so he could develop him. And a lot of times these quarterbacks have egos, so it's tough. And but with Popovich is doing with this young star Wembanyama, a lot of people are down on him because they're not winning as many games. But he's just prepping the guy for when he does get some players that can compliment him.
Essentially.
Oh, yeah.
He's a teenager.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And the thing about those Spurs, earlier in the year, and it's still early in the season, they play hard. If they don't play hard, they're not going to play. And you can see there's always a sense of urgency. It's just a matter of getting over those humps and being able to have a couple of guys that can step up outside of Wemby when it comes to being productive, because it's not always about offense. That's what people think it is, especially in this league nowadays. But defense wins games. You got to keep that in perspective, and that's one thing that Pop is always going to push you. If you're not playing defense, you're not going to play.
Yeah, and speaking of defense, and that leads us into this conversation about the defensive force. The key for the Golden State Warriors has been Draymond Green. This run, Draymond Green has been the guy. He's been the guy that's living on the edge. He's been the guy that's given them the intensity. And the NBA, after the incident of him striking Yusuf Nurkic, said, you know what? We're going to send you to your room, Draymond. This is an indefinite suspension. I thought this was kind of opening the door to Golden State moving on from Draymond, even though that they did sign him to an extension. But listening to Steve Kerr talk last night, and Steve Kerr spoke, I think, sincerely. He spoke candidly on it. And one of the things I got from Steve Kerr is that they're still all in with Draymond Green. They know that his actions really the last year have gone too far. But listening to Steve Kerr last night, I feel different that Draymond Green is still a part of the Warriors and is still an important piece to that puzzle. What do you make of what we've seen this week?
Put it like this. The nice thing about it is Steve Kerr played with Michael Jordan, and he played with the key component that helped them get a couple rings, Dennis Rodman. Yeah. Dennis Rodman was an unstable guy. but it got to the point. You like that, huh, Ned?
He's unstable.
He's an unstable guy too.
Yeah.
But it comes down to guys not wanting to be selfish and think about because some of the things that Dennis Rodman did is inappropriate. Some of the things that Draymond is doing is inappropriate. And go ahead, Ned.
I blame the Europeans. First the Europeans come in with this. What is this? That one step, the traveling thing that they do. What do they call that? The Euro step. Then they come in with the soccer, the flopping, and all that. The Draymond thing. Give me a break. I mean, okay, he swung his. And Charles Barkley saying that he punched the guy. No, he punched that kid, Jordan Poole. That was a punch.
Yeah.
He backhand slapped the guy. It was a flop by both of them. Both of them are flopping. Okay, miss me with the indefinite suspension. I heard Chad Brown, who was on our show, JJ, you remember, the linebacker from New York, he's talking about his kid and him going into the principal's office because his kid got in trouble. And he's sitting there with his wife, and the principal says, well, we're going to suspend you indefinitely. And the kid turns to his dad, and Chad said he got embarrassed because the kid looked at his dad and said, Dad, how many days is indefinite? And he's thinking, well, I educated my son. He doesn't know what an indefinite suspension means. He doesn't know what indefinitely means. And so how many games are they going to give him? That's the only point of this whole thing. How many games are they giving Draymond?
Well, stop acting a fool.
Is it 15? If it's 20? But stop flopping. It's this whole European. He didn't punch the guy. He punched the guy and got, 2-3 games? He backhands a guy, and we want to give him, 30, 40 games? How many games are you going to give him? Just tell us how many games you're going to give him and move on. He did something worse to his own teammate, and it was on video camera.
He got suspended, though. You know he got suspended.
Only a couple games, though. He's going to get 10, 20, 30 games. How many games does he get? But he's going to be back. We know his reputation. He's been like this. It's because the game has kind of gotten a little bit, us Americans, if an American got hit, we fight. We fight. These Europeans, they flop and look like they need to go to the hospital. It's different. It's a different culture. It's a different thing. If somebody would come at Draymond, Draymond wouldn't act like that. He's doing it because he knows what guy he's doing it to.
Yeah.
If you do it to the wrong guy, it's a different story. But I'm just saying, okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, Draymond has some issues. We've had players in the past but it's the whole European thing. I'm just bloody.
European thing, man.
I don't disagree. I mean, I don't agree with this European thing. I feel like Draymond has developed a reputation of doing very foul stuff. If you paid attention, it started with LeBron James' suspension, and then it came into other people, and then somebody brought up the fact that Draymond's going to get into it with the point guard, Mitchell. For the Cavs, and they say Mitchell's one of the nicest guys ever. So I think Joe Dumars, like he said when he was on First Take with Stephen A. Smith yesterday, he's like, man, we got to figure out how to help him. We can't let him back on the court until we evaluate what's going on with him.
I'm going to tell you from experience, like when the psychiatrists start getting involved in athletics, coaches get up and walk out. I've been to symposiums where the psychiatrists say you can't take these sociopaths on your team. You're gonna have these problems, and you're not gonna be able to control these guys. And coaches are walking out. I'm not having a shrink in my building.
You can't control these guys. You can't control these guys right now because they make so much money.
I want my guys kind of crazy. Is what coaches think a lot of times. So the whole idea of what the punishment should be is the issue. Do you suspend them for the entire year? Sure, if you want to make a statement, that's what you do.
No, that's not going to happen.
Okay, so that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
So it's 20. So miss me with the indefinite suspension. Tell me how many days, and let's keep it pushing.
When you, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think where Joe Dumars is coming from, and especially with him working with Andre Iguodala, who knows Draymond very well, I think it came down to the point to, hey, we need to figure it out. The indefinite is coming from the standpoint of we don't know. We need to go through a process and see what's up. Because if they just suspend him, I don't think that's really going to help the man. I think they're trying to figure out what's up.
They've been sending him to psychiatrists.
You don't know that.
Since he's been there.
You don't know that.
So you don't think Golden State has had issues with him in their punches?
They've had
him
issues.
And Durant,
they've had issues, but you don't know what they've done because you got to think about it. They're not letting anybody know what they're doing with the process with him. Or what they have let people know is that, hey, we're going to suspend him. But I feel like a huge suspension is coming, just like the young boy at Memphis.
Well, I don't think it's going to be Ja Morant territory where that was 25 games.
It's going to be close.
But I think more to, I know, Ned, you're frustrated. I think the indefinite was kind of the shot of, we're going to.
What does that mean? What
does it mean? It means stop hitting people like down the basketball court. Stop kicking people in the stone for rebounds.
I've been hitting people since we started
football.
winning championships.
This ain't
we
football.
won 4 championships.
You're supposed to hit people.
You're not
This ain't
supposed to hit
football.
people. I know. I understand it's not football. But I'm telling you, the outrage and people, the pearl clutching of, that was such a violent hit. Oh, give me a break. That
I'm
wasn't
saying
even
it's a
that
violent.
tough.
It's a buildup. It's a
Yeah,
strike.
but I
system,
mean, the
man.
guy's been doing it even when they were winning championships. He was doing
Point
stuff
in
like
case is why it's indefinite right now. They're just trying to send a message to Draymond.
Tell me you suspend them for the entire year. Indefinite means 20 games.
It's not gonna
Indefinite
happen.
means
It's not gonna
means. So you're telling me it's not going to be 20 games? You're telling me
No,
how many games?
you said for the rest of the year. I can see it probably being around 10 and up, but you
Right.
got to keep in mind
Right.
we still.
So
got
just
our-
say that. Don't
we-
say indefinite.
We still, but indefinite is they're trying to put emphasis on it rather than just giving him games. I think
And
that's
the
what they're
others,
trying to.
the other times they weren't emphasizing the violence, the punching a guy in the face, cold cocking a guy.
No.
We didn't do it that time, but we're going to do it this time.
Yeah, because I think, and this was mentioned, Kenny, and then you guys have been in those locker rooms professionally. It's different. Like when things happen teammate versus teammate, you don't you want to handle that internally. You don't want the league necessarily coming in at that point in time.
Yeah,
trying to send a message.
but that was Jordan
It's not
Poole's
Draymond's
situation.
first rodeo.
It's
This is not Draymond's.
It's not. I feel
And
like when he
Poole
hit
wasn't
his
the first
teammate-
guy. Poole
No.
wasn't the first guy he hit.
Come on, stepping on Sabonis when he did in Sacramento,
Right.
That was obvious, and he only got one game.
I know. That's my point.
So,
That's my point.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying from the standpoint of it's gonna be at least 10 to 15 games, and they're not gonna let him come back for a while. It's gonna be like Ja. Like we need to evaluate and see what's going on. And this man Draymond's gonna have to go through a process. And I don't even think they know what the process is, to be honest. I think they're trying to figure it out.
They evaluated Ja, and then he pulls the gun a second time. So I mean, the evaluation. I'm just telling you how I've been in those in those personnel meetings. Being in the NFL, you're in those personnel meetings where they talk about guys getting psychiatric help. All the sociopaths of the NFL and NBA, they talk about it all the time, and the coaches get up and walk out.
Let me
Because
tell you something.
You can put a psychiatrist in the building. You can have a psychiatrist on staff. But coaches aren't going to allow that. They're not going to have somebody inside the
And I'm not
player's
even
head.
necessarily.
They want to be inside the
I'm not even necessarily disagreeing with you because when I played, we did have somebody that was there if you needed help or needed something, right? But it comes down to the individual, and
right.
We talk about these two guys, but if they weren't superstars, and somebody that was just another person on the bench, that person on the bench would not be in the league. Let's keep it real.
Right.
Like how many chances does a superstar get?
A ton.
But a ton. Because they bringing in that paper. So,
and the contract. They're not going to just give them that kind of money to go sit at home.
and NBA money is guaranteed.
Ding,
Right.
ding, ding. That's Kenny Thomas holding it down, kicking it with KT here on the opening drive. We're fired up about what's going on. We come back on the other side. I want to talk about some of the game action that we've seen, especially last night. Kings Thunder was a heck of a basketball game. What we saw from Giannis earlier this weekend. New Mexico State are playing basketball tonight. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro V. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it ProView Networks.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
You ready, Spell? You ready?
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, my mom.
As Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hi, I'm Steve Sunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, blasted, destroyed, bruh. You're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need great help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Like me, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I give you the pennies. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats, and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
All right, let's talk some basketball. Enough of the suspension talk.
I'm Euro stepping.
Hoopers hooping.
I saw my man. You see my man doing the Euro step.
I'm Euro stepping. If he'd have backhanded an American guy, white, black, or down in the South Valley of Chicano, he'd have got knocked out. Draymond Green. He up there hitting because European. I'm soft Euro stepping.
Oh, get off, dude! You are on the rock today.
He's on one. He was giving you crap about Belichick. You now look.
Hey, you pull that backhand slap down at the gym down in South Valley, man.
That's it. Well, yeah.
Some chingazos, or they go into the car.
Oh yeah, you got a point there.
They're doing it on an NBA floor. Now who's also getting it done on an NBA floor?
I'm soft Euros. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh my God. We're gonna have to like mute Ned for a while.
You should have a Euro.
No, I'm done. I'm over.
Oh yeah, you know those soft Euros. How about Giannis? Nikola Jokic. Yeah,
Giannis,
it's soft, right?
Fight.
64 points. And if you don't give that man the game ball, he is running down the tunnel to try to find that game ball.
That's arrogant, man.
That's a typical Euro. You know, he's going to cry, baby.
I got to back him up on this one. Like, just go get another ball.
Yeah.
And you can get it in grade, man. Does it really matter?
Now every little kid in Little League going to want a game ball after they do something good. see what he started.
That's pretty good, though. 64 points, and then they gave it to Oscar Tshiebwe for 1 point. The Pacers tried to take the game ball.
And this is a man that makes like $50 million a year, and he's worried about one ball.
One game ball.
Right.
I mean, see, once again, this is exactly what we were talking about. Superstars, man. And it is what it is, because everybody come to see the superstars play, and everybody else, you got to get in where you fit in.
Get in where you fit in. That's Kenny Thomas, JJ Buck DC, Ned James with you here on the opening drive. Now, speaking of superstars, we watched last year the Sacramento Kings take another step in their progression. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are on that path as well. Yeah. What a duel last night. You had De'Aaron Fox, 41 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 43 points. Kings victorious, 128-23. These are some of the most exciting teams to watch right now in the NBA.
Yeah, they are. Last year, the Kings ended up being third, which was like unbelievable. First time they made the playoffs since I played last time, with 16, 17 years. And I think Mike Brown is creating I don't want to say dynasty, but Mike Brown is changing the culture in Sacramento, and we need to win. But that was the Western Conference last year. The Western Conference this year is totally different. You got OKC coming into the game last night being number 2, and you got the Sacramento Kings being number 6 or 7. 6, and then you got my old team, the Houston Rockets, right behind them, and then you got the Warriors at 10, probably because of all the crap with Draymond. But the Western Conference has always been tough, and it's going to be interesting to see where everything ends up shaking up, because you even got Denver at 4 right now.
Yeah, and how about number 1?
Yeah,
the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Unreal.
We saw Anthony Edwards last year. His playoff performance was great. Now, they were not good enough to beat the eventual chance of Denver Nuggets. I think a lot of people were questioning, you gave up how many picks for Rudy Gobert? Yeah. What are we doing here? But all of a sudden, Karl-Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert with Anthony Edwards, they figuring out how they're going to play together.
Oh, yeah, they are. And you got the young fellow over there. I think he's about 6'10". I think he played at Texas A&M. I can't think of his name. But he's athletic, and he can shoot the ball. So that's even spacing the floor a little bit more. But the fact that the Kings beat Minnesota, in Minnesota, I think, this year. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure. But the way that the Western Conference, man, don't you think, Ed, it's anybody's game right now. It would be interesting to see if the Kings end up being a 1-6 team. I think they might end up being a 7-10 team, a 7-10 seed.
Minnesota was a team I talked about a little bit last year, JJ, if you remember, because I thought they would come on with Gobert last year. But they didn't, and for some reason this year they figured it out. I don't know how the coaching works really in the NBA, or how making fitting guys together works. But I like big men. I'm just a big man fan, and that's why I always thought that when you have big men like that you have a chance. You can get space guys and all those kind of guys in a lot of places. But I thought they would be good last year. But now we'll see what happens once they get to the half.
I think Minnesota. They had that taste, just like the Kings last year. You have that taste of the postseason, and you start to learn, all right, this is what we got to do to handle 82 regular season games. And then you get to the playoffs. Speaking of big men and a team that don't necessarily have a lot of traditional size, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the Clippers.
The Clippers are stacked. They got 4 instead of 3, man.
But Kawhi's played every game this season.
Yeah. Shocker.
James Harden. Now, you always have that giant question mark, James Harden at the end, but he's fitting in. And you know what? I want to. The Clippers are always a team like, I don't want to buy in. Like, I don't want to go all the way in. But they're playing some good basketball right now.
Yeah, you got to kind of buy in. That's like buying into the King. And the way that Clippers team is playing, I don't think it really matters who gets the ball. But James Harden has to have the ball in his hands. So he's going to do what he does. I think everybody else kind of gets in where they fit in. But PG-13's playing great. I think it's a matter of keeping at least 3 of those guys healthy.
Yeah.
Even though you got Westbrook there. He's there and he's doing his thing. I don't think he's a guy that wants that pressure anymore. But the Kings, man, Sabonis and the way that the Kings are playing at home has been tremendous. They got to take care of home court. They take care of home court, they will be a top 6 team.
All right, just a couple more minutes. We've got Kenny Thomas in studio with us. Tuesdays, Fridays, a game changer here on the Sports Animal. We're getting a chance to talk hoop and sport with Kenny Thomas on the opening drive. All right, we saw what the Lobos did to New Mexico State
earlier
this season. Like, they're at two different points with their expectations, but they head down to Las Cruces tonight. They're 14.5-point favorites right now. What's it like playing in rivalry games, especially when you're going against New Mexico State, even when you have the expectations as a favorite, though, to just be able to go out there and handle your business?
I used to handle my business with State. I don't know anything else.
Yeah, that's all you know.
That was kind of a given. But some of those games were kind of tight, right? Because of the whole Rio Grande, the rivalry there. But New Mexico State is rebuilding. And for the Lobos, it's different when you're playing at home. 15,000 people. It's just different. So when you go to another, when you go down to state and it's in the same state, right? But it's just a different school. You're going to get some support, but you got to keep in mind the Aggies are going to go on runs. And it's a matter of who's going to step up and execute when they do go on a run, because having your fans, that sixth man is huge. So I feel like they just got to go in there and take care of business and not think about how they beat them by like 40 last game, and go out there and just try and get a win.
It's hard.
Kenny Thomas.
It's hard going against your little brother too. You know, you kind of feel sorry for him, and I get it. You know, I never really played a second half against him because we were blowing them out all the time in football. But they did beat us my junior year down there. Lucky last second play. But you know, I get the part when you go down there. It's going to be a little bit tougher because you got a raucous crowd, and you know your little brother is really kind of, you know, trying to show, you know, that he can, you know, somehow compete with the big brothers of the North, and it'll be a good game, I'm sure.
I remember that half-court shot that Clayton Shields hit. We were defeated, and then next thing you know, it's like Clayton Shields knocked down that half-court shot. So it was one of those things you think that would not have happened down there being so close. But they had some guys on that squad that were some good guys that were very competitive, and they had some guys on the perimeter that were awesome during that time too when Clayton hit that shot.
Oh, it's about setting expectations and living up to those expectations. And who blew the expectations out of the water? That's Kenny Thomas.
I appreciate
what
you.
a week. Tuesdays and Fridays right here on the Sports Animal, part of the opening drive, kicking it with KT, man. This was fun, and can't wait to keep on doing this, man.
Man, I appreciate it. It's just my second day, Ned. You got to come back.
Hey.
Jeff, my
it's football season. I'll be back. It's football. I'll be back.
Jeff, a little busy this week with his letter to New Mexico. Of course, he'll be back in studio with us next week. Kenny, appreciate it, man.
Man, thank you guys for having me, Ned. I appreciate you. I'll see you soon. And
yes, we'll see you around.
Sports Animal. I'm enjoying this, man.
This is great. Every Tuesday and Friday right here on the Sports Animal. That's Kenny Thomas, and this is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Sunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Spout, get ready.
My coach, My teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Rosendo Nahad here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations. Or visit us online at Golden.
The 6:30 pregame, Robert Portnoy and Hunter Green on the call on the UNM Sports Radio Network. We have the Isleta New Mexico Bowl tomorrow. You can hear that right here on the Sports Animal. If you're on your way out there, if you're at the game, you want to listen to the play-by-play on bowl season radio, we have you covered, and that's sandwiched in between 2 of the 3 NFL games on the slate tomorrow. And games with expectations. I believe that tomorrow the Steelers-Colts game is an elimination game. I believe that the Denver Broncos, if they beat the Detroit Lions, will be a playoff football team along with the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, who I think are right there on the edge of being a conference contender. If Buffalo beats Dallas, then the Buffalo Bills are the second best team in the AFC. It is that time of the year, going down the stretch, trying to figure out the pretenders and the contenders. And I think we got a couple contenders, and 2 of them could be decided tomorrow. This Friday, right? It is Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck DC, our quarterback, Ned James, he had an extra shot of espresso this morning. He is fired up. He's got the people fired up. He's going after everyone. No one is safe this morning with Ned James on the radio.
Yes, Bill Belichick is, because I usually get on him, but I'm on the Don't Mess with Bill campaign. Because don't mess with Happy, and they've got Happy down in New England. And I hate to see the guy run out of town because of a bad quarterback.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out at the end of the season, because so many people feel that it's already been decided, but really you have no idea what it's going to be with Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick when they make that decision. But what we have an idea on is the Dallas Cowboys riding high after beating the Philadelphia Eagles. They are phenomenal at home, 15 straight home wins. But now they go on the road, and it's going to be cold. It's going to be 36 degrees in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And you're going to have Dak Prescott versus Josh Allen. Woo-wee. Let's go.
In the elements, too. In the elements, because Josh, played it in Laramie at Wyoming, and, pro guys, the personnel guys in the NFL, they know what they're doing. They want these big – guys who are strong, it can play in the pocket and can handle weather, because big guys, in the weather and getting hit and laid on, you tend to respond better than the smaller guys. And so Josh is built for this kind of game. That's why they drafted him. because they felt that he could, withstand these temperatures and the wind and all that stuff. He can throw through the wind. Dak's going to have to prove himself. Not so much with who he's playing against, but playing in the elements. I mean, you never know if you got to go play a playoff game in Philadelphia in January. It's not going to be like Dallas in January. You got to play in the elements. And so, this is a good test for Dallas, I think, both offensively and defensively. Special teams, all those things have to be tight. You have to have those three phases of the game tight when you're playing teams that are playoff contenders. This is the time of the season when everybody's beat up, and so the excuse of injuries and all that sort of stuff are out the window. Nobody's feeling sorry for anybody because of injuries. It's a part of the game, and so I'm looking forward to Dallas just to see how Dak responds in the elements. I mean, guys from the South and guys who played college football in the South and grew up in the South, going to play in the elements, it's a whole different ball game. And football, really, we're not like these indoor sports or baseball where they cancel the games. It's you've got to play with when the elements are not in your favor. So we'll see. And I like Dallas. I like Dallas a lot, but I want to see Dak win a game on the road in the elements.
Some of that's going to come down to being efficient with the football, of course, also on the ground. Can you get enough out of Tony Pollard or Rico Dowdle, to help that offense be efficient against Buffalo? And I am buying into whatever Buffalo is selling right now. But another team that I like, and when we talk about making a run, it's hard to look at anyone making a run in the NFC. We really have that established here. San Francisco, then you can put ... Dallas ... Philadelphia, and it really feels like there is a clear difference between the top and then everyone else. But a team that, if I say, all right, I believe this wild card team could win a playoff game, and I'm not factoring in Dallas or Philadelphia, who one of those teams could be a wild card team for not winning the division, it's the Los Angeles Rams, and they're in another must-win situation. They're 6-7. They're a game back of the 6-7 Green Bay Packers, but we did see the Packers slip up and lose to the Giants. Packers are hosting Baker Mayfield, the touchdown maker, in Lambeau this weekend. Packers are 3.5-point favorites. But the team I'm talking about is the Los Angeles Rams with Matthew Stafford and an offense. If they get rolling, I think they can carry a team to at least a playoff victory because of the established offense. Now, going into a weekend, coaches always have a message. They always have an angle, right, of when they step up to the media, what are they going to do? Well, Sean McVay made sure to hype up Sam Howell and the Commanders, because when Sean McVay was asked about the Commanders quarterback, he said, quote, "Oh, yeah, he's a baller. This guy's got the ability to create. You can see he sees the field well. He can get through the progressions quickly. He can make all the throws. He dissects and recognizes coverage quickly, and he's able to deliver the ball accurately."
Every coach does that. It's a Lou Holtz. It's a Lou Holtz technique. You just build up the other team to make them seem like they're just so much better than you, despite who they are. But the one thing I really respect about the Los Angeles Rams and Matthew Stafford is the fact that he didn't take a pay cut. I respect guys who don't say, "Hey, look,
who don't take a pay cut."
That do not take a pay cut. He did not. The Rams came to him, said, "Hey, you got to take a pay cut, or else we got to do some things to help help the club." And he's like, "Nope. Either you pay me or you let me go." And that's what you have to do. You have to. I mean, I understand people saying, "Hey, Ohtani's giving all this money." No, hey, they need to pay you for what you're worth, and that's what you're worth, Sam. They traded to get you Stafford, and so hey, pay me. And if you don't want to pay me, fine. But like you said, this team has gotten better as the season's gone on. They've got two, Pro Bowl players, one on offense, one on defense. You've got Aaron Donald on defense, and you've got Matthew Stafford on offense. That should be enough. You got the complementary pieces. Just make them play harder. This is where the coaching comes in. So this is it's important for them to play well. Through this stretch. It's tough when you're fighting that salary cap. It's tough, but it can be done. I don't know how they make the playoffs, but this is an opportunity now. They have a game.
Well, they need a little bit of help. They're in a must-win situation at 6-7 because the Packers are also 6-7, but they have the tiebreaker over the Rams right now based on head-to-head win percentage. And the Next team you look at is the Minnesota Vikings.
That's
Vikings on the road at Cincinnati. 3-point underdogs are the Minnesota Vikings. Jake Browning versus Nick Mullins. And this is a team that they got saved. Joshua Dobbs, what he did coming in, winning that Falcons game, winning a couple games, it was great. But it shows you it's not for long. That's because Josh Dobbs, he's not just a backup quarterback. He's going to be the emergency third-string quarterback this weekend as it's Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall stepping up. But we know for the Vikings right now, Ned, it's still about that defense.
Yeah, and, you've got to question O'Connell a little bit. I mean, here's a guy who came in, gave you a spark, did some really good things, and then all of a sudden you're going to, relegate him to the, the emergency quarterback. I don't know about that. You're playing a tough team that's defensively in Cincinnati. You're going there. They're playing a journeyman quarterback as well who's played well, but he's still a journeyman. What are you going to do? I mean, you've got to find a way to manufacture some points, and you may have to use Josh Dobbs. I don't know if Nick Mullins is the answer. So you got shut out. I mean, what are you going to do now? I mean, what if Mullins doesn't produce? It falls back on the head coach. He's an offensive guy. He should be able to manufacture some points somehow. They're playing extremely well on defense. This Minnesota defense is, with Flores, all the stuff he's been going through with the lawsuit against the NFL and everything else. I'm very impressed with what he's doing defensively. I was really surprised because I was a Zimmer and a fan of the last coach that was there, who was a defensive guy. I thought it was a mistake to get rid of him, and they've gone on and found someone who could coach defense just every bit as good, and has done a great job up there in Minnesota. So we'll see what happens in Cincinnati. I still think Josh Dobbs deserves an opportunity, but we'll see what Nick Mullins can do.
We'll see what happens. A fantastic week in the NFL as the pressure amplifies. You get deeper in the season, it matters even more. When we come back on the other side, what are some of the games that we like as we take our chance on the 3-for-all? It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This is Boomerang Science. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Sunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. You're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! Look, it's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How would I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space, and you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier.
No one knows what it means, but it gets the people going. And I have that feel this morning. What a Friday it's been, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on The Sports Animal. JJ Bucket DC, our quarterback, Ned James. Bowl season starts tomorrow. Big day in the bowl schedule, of course, is led in New Mexico, New Mexico State, Fresno State. New Mexico State, 3.5-point favorites over Fresno State. Jeff Tedford, they announced it a couple weeks ago, is not coaching this game, has stepped away to deal with health issues, unfortunately, again, for Coach Tedford. But Diego Pavia is set to go. I know he's banged up at the end of the season. There are some questions about his availability. And woo-wee, what a game it's going to be. You're a football fan, you're a Lobo fan, you're an Aggie fan. What a great opportunity to get a chance to see your team in a bowl game, and you don't have to travel. And it's good to have these moments. Embrace it. This is the first time New Mexico State playing it as led in New Mexico Bowl, coming off a season in which they played for a Conference USA title. They have the Coach of the Year. They have the Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
And I tease all the time about Pavia, and you know, rightfully so. But at the same time, I do think he is a treasure for this state. I mean, I think getting the Heisman vote last year, being a local kid, being from around here, you know, young people make mistakes all the time, and that's okay. I mean, he's just got to, you know, learn some humility. But at the same time, I think we should be recognizing him, and we should be talking him up and talking this game up with him, because I do think, he's played special this year. He's had a special year down there. It's been special for the state, and he should be acknowledged for that. The fact that they beat Auburn at Auburn, who means that they technically beat Alabama, because Alabama got lucky and beat Auburn and getting into a college football playoff. So, I mean, this whole SEC idea, the SEC inventing football, you got to miss me with that, with our Aggies going down there, little brothers to the south going down there and whipping up on the SEC foe. But I think Pavia is just, I really believe the state, owes a lot to this young man. They should really kind of treasure what he's done and accomplished this season with that team, and what Jerry's done down there with those guys. It's really been a great job, and they should be commended for that. And hopefully they get a nice crowd out there for them to
it's looking good,
play this game. So
looking like it's going to be a fantastic environment out there tomorrow, and just winning a game at an SEC opponent, that's going to go up there with. Yeah, they won a bowl game last year. They had a chance playing a bowl game this year, but like those guys are going to talk about that forever. The time that they went into Auburn and won that game.
Oh yeah. It was really that's something. And just talking to Jerry, just philosophically, that's the one thing I like about the old school guys. I can get into some philosophy stuff, and talking to him when I was doing the show when we interviewed him, it's just great to hear that some of the same ideas that I grew up with and playing football and understanding the game and coaching the game and you know, talking about the game are still there. And, you know, Jerry, you know, just really was really good. I like I said, even before we even played him or when he first got down there, I told you, I said, hey, this guy's a really good coach. He did a really good job at Minnesota. Everywhere he's been successful. And so, I mean, it's just we're really fortunate to get him because of some circumstances. The state of New Mexico should be proud that they have a really quality coach like him down there. And hopefully, you know, they'll have a good turnout and they'll enjoy themselves tomorrow.
The love coming from the Lobo quarterback, Ned James.
Not love, just a little respect.
The praise, all the praise. All right, let's get it, because I want to get this in there before we get done. Let's do a little 3 for all. Ned, you can judge us after the fact. DC and I are going to give you our 3 best bets this weekend, so you can win money by going the opposite way.
If every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite would have to be right.
Yes, I will do the opposite.
Not 2, not 4, not 5, not
6, not 7. 1, 2, 3.
Let's get into it. Our 3 favorite bets from the sports weekend. I'm going to start in the NFL. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the Jets plus 9.5 against the Miami Dolphins. I don't like the offensive line issues for the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill is a question mark. Give me the Jets. Keep it close.
Well, I did not expect that. So what a start. I'm going, you're going to notice a theme with my picks this week. Denver at Detroit. I'm going to go with the under 48.
Under 48 Broncos and Lions. Of course, that's Saturday night game tomorrow. You can hear that right here on the Sports Animal. My next one is I was flip-floppy. I was wishy-washy. Like, oh, it's going to be cold. It's going to be this. You know, watching Buffalo and Kansas City last week, I think that was at 37 total. Was that 2017 was that final score? And that one, I'm going the over. I think the Cowboys are going to score some early touchdowns. I think Josh Allen is going to get going. This is a big number, 49.5, but I'm buying in that it's just going to squeak over. I think it's going to be one of those like 28-25 games, get you by, but I'm taking the over in Buffalo.
Well, that's really funny because I saw the over-under at 50, and I was going the under on that.
So, well, I'll put it at 50. So we'll be at the same. So I got the over. You got the under at 50 of that game. All right, what's your last one?
All right, Pittsburgh at Indy. I'm going to go the under once again, 42.5.
Under 42.5, Indianapolis and Pittsburgh. It feels good, but then we see games like last night, and you're like, what? How did that happen? 42-0 Raiders over the Chargers. I'm going to go to bowl season in this one. And I'm going Mountain West. And no, it's not the Fresno State, New Mexico State game, which, by the way, that's a 10-14 versus an 8-14. You get some good matchups at the Isleta, New Mexico. I'm going with this team found something at the end of this season. This team rallied around after their coach was let go, after the guy that kind of became their starting quarterback got hurt. Give me the Boise State Broncos to defeat UCLA. So give me Boise State plus 4. And I would even take them on the money line in the LA Bowl tomorrow night.
Well, there's only one winner here, and it was tough deciding, but I'm going to have to go with DC. And only one of his picks that I liked, because all the other picks, you guys, I don't know what you guys are thinking. But the DC pick of going into Orchard Park into Buffalo and being under 50 points with the weather this time of year. I don't know if it's going to be, maybe it's a sunny day, but that wind in Buffalo and all the other elements that come into play in that game, I can't see, both teams scoring, that many points. But that was the only one of the three that I thought was
that was any
anything.
Good.
Yeah, the rest of them, I don't know.
That's my pick. So there's always one pick where I go against what I feel of this 3 for all that we do, and we're having some fun on Fridays. The other ones, I'm like, yeah, this is for sure. I'm all in. There's always one where I'm like, I feel so strongly about it, I go the other way. And that was that one of taking the over in that game. Because I came in, I'm like, under for sure. Cold, windy day, good defense in Dallas. Buffalo, they can defend well as Dallas tries to adjust early on that game to just getting the blood flow in their body. That was my one.
The injuries on the Cowboys line, that's another thing I'm concerned about. How's the running game going to play out?
Yeah.
The Mike Hyde, the safety for the Bills, is probably going to be out, so it'll be interesting to see how if they take some shots long.
I think they will. You know,
I just like Dallas's coaching staff. That's the only thing I really like.
Mike
how
McCarthy
they
getting
adjust.
his due.
And McCarthy's playing in this weather is not new to him. It's not foreign. So
not new to him, but we'll see. As you said, how Dak Prescott responds. It's a little different, from Philadelphia even 4 weeks ago to what they're going to experience in Buffalo. When you look at players in the game, best this, best that, CeeDee Lamb, to me, it feels like he has to be in the conversation for best route runner in the league. Like his wiggle, like what he does to get open.
he makes it look easy.
Yeah.
That's what I like about him. He makes it look really easy. He's a little goofy. I kind of don't like a lot of the antics, but
who's not goofy, Ned?
Yeah,
the wide
that's right.
receiver. You know that.
I'm just an old man. That's all.
You're just an old man that lit a fire under the people this morning. Had fun this week, man. Enjoy your time with the family. We'll see you soon.
Will do. You too. You do the same. You guys have fun.
That's our quarterback, Ned James, DC. Tremendous job. I want to thank Kenny Thomas for joining us. And you can hear Kenny Thomas every Tuesday and Friday, 9 to 9:30, right here on The Opening Drive. We got Jim Rome coming up next, calling Howard Hurd at 1, 2 men on at 4, and a busy football-filled weekend for you right here on The Sports Animal. Everybody, Metal peace and love. We will talk on Monday.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Spell, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Young driver, this one.
Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hi, I'm Steve Sunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.